Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Hey, we're discussing Bill 11-32, and of course, Manny Duenas here, the president of the Guam Fishermen's Co-op. Now, Manny, before we went on the break, we talked about this bill was previously introduced in the previous legislature under a different number, but the substance is the same, basically. Now, my understanding, and watching some of the public hearing regarding this bill, and doing the research prior to you coming on here, Manny, that the author of the bill basically did not even have the committee report, and you had to hand the author a video copy of what had transpired in the previous public hearing on basically an identical bill. Is that true?
Yes. Well, I offered him the video. Yes, that.
Okay.
Because someone gave it to me. But the thing that's frustrating again is we had to rehash the same wounds all over again. And I guess to add insult to injury, he added several other components to this legislation, which became more frustrating because it all affected fishing.
Sure.
And the bill is to protect corals. And in 4,000 years, where have we affected the corals? World War II came to Guam and devastated our island. Muddy streets, trails, tanks, everything else, runoffs to the 1,000th degree affected our island, but our corals came back. How could a little fishing boat, how could a little recreational guy going out for a day outing with his family and having engine problem ending up on the reef is ever going to be a detriment to the health of the coral reef?
I guess the PD bomb hole too, they got its name because of a bomb.
Well, there's several discussions on the PD bomb hole, but even that, I mean, you talk about seagrass. What are you going to do? You fly over Guam, you see where the jet ski operates, you see seagrass beds that are affected. Are you going to retroactively find these people? Leave it alone. Help them, dredge the area so the area can regrow and rehabilitate itself. The problem with Guam is our fringing reef, our inner reef is gone. When I was a kid, we used to have tidal pools. We used to have deep waters in the canyon. Now at low tide, all you see is sand and seagrass sticking out in the air. And that's very wrong. Why? Because we have a high runoff problem.
That's right, that's right.
And if we don't address that problem, people will tell you, even the two-life fishermen in the boat basin will tell you, Manny, when I started fishing here 30 years ago, I had a 40-foot net, meaning deep. Now I have to fold the net in half. That's how shallow it is now. Fishermen are the first to see the problem because we're in the water every day. And if not me, it's somebody else that's in the water that will bring out the story and tell us what's going on. We are the first line of defense, but we have no one to talk to. We can't talk to the Department of Agriculture. Senator Cruz rather listen to everyone else. Our deepest concern is to rehabilitate our environment, bring it back to the way it was. But if we can't do it, if we keep avoiding the discussion on sedimentation and runoff, you can't keep blaming the community, the very small aspect of the community that uses it infrequently in the sense of anchoring.
Well Manny, I tell you, this morning we woke up, like you woke up, to power rates going up in a couple of days, water rates going up. If you got gas today, you know that your gas rates went up. Senator B.J. Cruz collected a $9,300 check today. About a month ago, there was a family that was interviewed in regards to power rates. She said she's having to decide between food and power. Well, it's going to be, now that the power rates are going to go up, it's going to be between food, power, and water. I think power is going to take probably the third tier is either going to be water or food, the essentials. And so, again, these are things. Well, some people who may not fish right now may have to resort to fishing to feed their family, to have subsistence for their family. So if they go out there, they happen to walk on coral, they're going to be fine because they're wrecking their environment. And we all know that we want to preserve that, but the fishermen are constantly blamed. The other thing is this: it's kind of like divide and conquer. Folks who utilize scuba tanks and happen to fish. Are they quadrillion scuba tanker fishermen out there?
There's a less than 10, I would say. I know of actively 6 that fish infrequently per week. I mean, lucky they go once a week. And their catch is nowhere near what has been reported or discussed in public meetings. I mean, when I mentioned how much 200 pounds per diver, everybody started laughing. I said, I wish, because that never happened. Like I said, I got catch records for the last 35 years at the Fisherman's Co-op of every fisherman that sold to the co-op. And the co-op is not to look for profit. The co-op is to support the fishing community. It's always been to support the fishing community. I volunteered 12 years of my life of non-pay to help this fishing community. I wish I could have that $9,200 that Senator Cruz has, so I can give the fishermen some money. The average fisherman in the co-op makes $5,500. That's what he makes. That's not including his expenses. His expenses need to be covered because wife will tell the fisherman, honey, you got to sell the boat because I want an extension. And that's happened to many of my fishermen. But for the mere fact of number of fishermen in Guam, 40 years ago, I would say there's only 25% left. And of the 25, most of them are not even fishing as much as the ones that were fishing 40 years ago. So I don't know where the impact is.
It used to be sport fishing. The sport has become too expensive anymore.
Well, now the new generation is going to sport fishing. It's a matter of, oh, I want to go have fun and spearfish or do whatever, recreational stuff. Back then, it was all about feeding the community. You got to remember that when we have community-based fisheries, people used to live in the South. And we had fishing villages. But now people, Tan Maria moved from Umatic to Jigo. And she doesn't have a reef outside her house. She doesn't know who the fisherman is. So she goes to the Fisherman's Co-op, or she goes to Payless, or what other market that's available, so she can have her fish. So are we going to, the sad reality with the Fisherman's Co-op is that our number of fishermen continue to dwindle. The gas prices has went up, as you mentioned earlier. What are we going to do? How are we going to survive? We can't get the government to help us out. The government has, in 18 years I've been running the co-op, the government of Guam has been the least helpful group, the legislature, government of Guam. Governor Carwell, I'm going to tip my hat off to him, has been a supporter of the fishing community in the last 2 years. And I'm looking forward to more effort on that part. But the reality is no one cares about fishing. No one cares about farming. No one cares about anything. We work hard to do something to provide to this community, fresh local fish. And we're not the evil doers as everyone professes to be.
You're not the bad guys.
I'm not. We are not. Like I said, I got the numbers. The scientists all tell me, oh, we got the facts. Excuse me. I see the fishermen every day. I work 7 days a week, 9 to 8, 9 to 9 every day. I know what the fishermen bring in because I have to write out their fish tickets. I have to compute how much I have to pay them. I have to take off what money they owe for fuel. And believe me, most of them owe for fuel. They owe for ice. And that's a sad thing. When I started 18 years ago, there was a number of fishermen, and they could make maybe a couple of thousand, pay for their medication, pay their power, give their kids some money. But now fishermen are big. The primary goal of fishermen on Guam has never been for money. The primary goal for fishermen on Guam is to maintain a tradition, a long-standing 4,000-year-old tradition. I was told by someone, oh, just because you've been doing it for 4,000 years doesn't mean it's right. And I go, I'm baffled. I go, well, the sad reality, and I ask the senators and I ask scientists the same question every day. If you take the number of fish the fishermen catch and sell on the market, which is roughly about 100,000 pounds of fish, not just reef fish, but also mai, wahoo, and marlin and other stuff. If you take that amount of fish, and you take the people back 1,000 years, and there were 40,000 people living on this island. No cows, no pigs, no chickens. They couldn't survive for a week.
There we go. Manny, I got to take a break. We'll be right back. Talk more about 4,000 years of wronging the people. Be right back.